reconnect, live, laugh, and love. Connections, dreams, getaway experiences. Brave Heart Workshops. Unique Getaways live with Jill Reynolds.
The Connection Show, Restore, Renew, Reconnecting Community, sponsored by Brave Heart Workshops, live with Jill Reynolds. And my guest today is Gloria Coppola, and she is live from North Carolina. Welcome, Gloria.
Hello, Jill. Thank you for inviting me today.
Well, I'm so grateful that you did join us in on this beautiful day. And what I'd love to do is share with the audience a little bit about Gloria's bio that I'll read to you. She's the owner of Powerful Potential and Purpose Publishing and is an intuitive life coach, spiritual minister, naturopathic practitioner, a certified health coach, a story developer, an author, and a publisher. Gloria has been in healing arts as an educator for over 3 decades. She is the former owner of a massage school and holistic center. Her purpose is to help others see the truth of their soul's essence and live it fully. She offers private consultations to understand and develop your soul purpose from your blueprint. Gloria's company began as a calling at the end of 2019, and in 2020 she created 2 #1 best-selling collaborative books. She enjoys story development coaching and helping entrepreneurs get their messages out to the world. Gloria loves to travel and has been hosting retreats for 20 years to locations such as Hawaii, Costa Rica, France, Italy, Peru, and Canada. In her spare time, what spare time, she loves to paint and dance. So what a beautiful bio. If you could share with the audience a little bit about yourself and that bio, we'd love to hear from you.
Oh, I think you just shared it all. I definitely have a colorful and creative life. I do not allow myself to stay in the box, obviously. I get guided to the next evolution of what I'm supposed to do and where I'm supposed to be. And that's been my journey, and it's been fun.
So tell us a little bit about your book that you wrote. You're an author and a publisher. So what is the name of your book, and share a little bit about what's in it so we can know a little bit of the story behind it.
Okay, well, I actually have published several books of my own besides other people's. So years ago, when I was studying with Kahuna, I published Both Ends of the Rainbow, and there's actually a lot of the Hawaiian elders that have shared their wisdom. Because I'm a life coach, and people are always asking me all sorts of things on their personal transformation, I finally put a book out about that. You Were Born to Love, Live a Life with Purpose. But I think the one that you want to know about is the one that just went #1 bestseller. And I'll tell you a little bit about this. The Path of Awakening is actually a collaborative book, and it's wonderful because a lot of people don't think they can write, #1, which is why I help them develop their stories. And 2, they don't feel they have enough to say in a full book, or they're not ready. So it's been wonderful working with individuals out there, heart-centered entrepreneurs, business leaders, to help them develop their story, which are very compelling and profound. Oh my God, the ones in here will take you on such an emotional roller coaster ride and help you gain faith in your own spiritual journey. But it makes it easier for them to work with me one-on-one in the story development. My team helps do the layout and all the beautiful design. And then we get you to be a #1 bestseller. We pray for #1. We did get #1. And that way, when people are asking you what you do, you get to say author, but it opens up the world to lots of speaking engagements like this and more.
Well, that's amazing. How many people are actually in that book?
In this particular one, we actually have 7 main co-authors. The foreword was done by an international bestseller and a top CEO. So he wrote about faith and gratitude, which is really kind of how all their stories evolved in the book too.
So each story is about how many pages each, approximately?
Oh, let's see. I know how many words they are approximately. I think the pages are probably, let's see real quick. Anywhere, I'm going to say about 12 pages, give or take. It's 3,500 words. So it's really a nice amount of someone's life story,
Hmm.
condensed into the most important, crucial part that has shifted and changed their life.
Okay, that sounds. I've been told so many times to write my story, and I'm like, oh, and I don't, it's hard enough to write one. I've done a lot of story work myself, and I've been trained and done a lot of work with Dan Allender from Seattle School of Theology, who does story workshops all over the world.
Mm-hmm.
And his philosophy is to take a T in your life, a trauma,
Right.
it can be a small or a large, and to get out of the helicopter and land the plane, and
Yes.
do it in 1,000 words. And to land the plane is a fascinating concept for writing, I believe, because I had shared trauma stories before with therapists and in group settings. And sometimes when you share story, it's almost like you're at a Tupperware party, because it's very difficult for people to get into story with story. And it's more like, this happened to me, blah 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 blah,
Right.
and
Exactly.
it doesn't draw you in. And so when I rewrote I wrote my date rape at 14 and did it in story. And when I did, I had shared that probably oh 50, 60 times before, and had never had the emotional impact I did until I wrote
Mhm.
it out of the
Mhm.
helicopter.
Yes.
So it's
Absolutely.
amazing when you really do get out of the helicopter and land that plane.
And you're right, because most people write from an account of facts of this happened, and it is not engaging and emotional as it could be.
Hmm.
A lot of people, when they're writing, they have all that up here, but they don't put it on paper. So that's how I help them develop their stories. And they this group here, their stories are so impactful. I mean, we have, for example, it doesn't always have to be a major trauma in the sense of something, really big, but a life-changing event. Like one of the women wrote about her mom who was diagnosed with Alzheimer, and it's a beautiful story or a love letter to her about all these different things and the coping abilities she had to, change things the way she saw it. And then another one is a gentleman that, was brought up at the age of 5 under the ward of the state because his mom died, and where he is now helping teenagers. And then of course we have one that is a mom who lost her son when he was 18 while she's dealing with opiate addiction. So there's just so many really interesting ways people go through life. But the key, Jill, that I found in each one of them, that's why when David Meltzer put the forward in here on faith and gratitude, the key to all of their stories was faith and gratitude. He didn't know. They didn't know. Only I knew while I was getting all the writings in. It was fun. It was a lot of
Yeah, yeah. I love the spiritual awakening stories. I probably should write my. I've had like I want to say a minimum of 4 phenomenal phenomenal spiritual awakenings that like blew my mind away.
fun.
And one of them stays with me every single day because it came with me to my new home in Branson, Missouri. And I'll just share a bit of it with the audience. It happened when I was young. My parents divorced, and we moved from our home to a apartment complex right by a train track. And at night when the train would go by, I would cry and cry and cry because I missed my dad. And so the sound of a train had a lot of trauma for me. So fast forward years later, I'm in treatment for my codependency. It's in a little Baptist hospital in Miami, Oklahoma. And I'm in the chapel praying and meditating and trying to work on my third step. Made a decision to turn my life and my will over to the care of God. And as I'm sitting in this chapel, a train in the background goes by. And I remember
Mhm.
putting my fist up to God and saying, I hate trains. I hate the sound. It makes me feel abandoned. And right in the middle of the chapel, God says to me, Jill, your father never left you. He was forced to go with the divorce, and I've never left you, and I'll always be here for you. And
Mm.
so at that moment, I had the spiritual awakening. When I hear the sound of a train, it reminds me that God is with me wherever I go. And through my life's journey, and that happened to me in 1992, Gloria. And since 1992, I've been in treatment several times for eating disorders, and every treatment center, some of them were in the middle of nowhere. I'm talking like desert in Arizona or a state park area in St. Louis, in the middle of nowhere. And what is in the background? But freight trains that would go by right in the middle of me processing really heavy um, emotional stuff. And along the way, every therapist office I've gone to, even in a residential area, the minute I started processing, a train would go by, and God would say, "I told you I would never leave you." So when we moved to Branson, Missouri 2 years ago, my husband and I were looking for a house, and we couldn't find what we wanted, so we decided to build. So we looked for some lots, and as soon as we stepped on the lot that I live in, a train went by. And so
I love it.
we built the house, and every single night around 2 in the morning, a train will go by, and I wake up, and God says, "I told you I'd never leave you."
That's right. That's right.
So
The signs are always there if we pay attention. They really are.
yeah, they really are. So shifting a little bit, um, with the Connection Show, one of the things that we love to ask our guests is, how are you utilizing connection during this time of social distancing in your life?
Well, Jill, I was actually prepared for social distancing because that's pretty much how I live my life. So, I'm always connecting through social media. I actually love phone calls. So what's really been fun is that people are like craving that connection now. So instead of just texting like they normally do, we're actually having phone calls and, live virtual chat. So that has been fun. I've been enjoying that.
So connecting on phones and on virtual
Yeah.
computers
Yeah.
and stuff. And so with that connection and stuff that you're having, right in the midst of this, many of us, Gloria, and I don't know if you're one, many of us set goals at the beginning of a year. And here we are, fast forward already into the second week in May. And so many of us, our goals and our dreams have shifted. So where would you say your goals or your dreams are for 2020 with the remainder of the year left?
Well, it's interesting that you bring that up because my goal this year, going into this whole new parameter that I was guided to publish authors, I wrote thinking it would be impossible to create 20 number one best-selling authors. Well, guess what? It's done already. So now I have to amp it up. I sat and looked at my goal the other day and I'm like, wait a minute, this already happened. It happened faster and quicker and more profound than I thought. So obviously, the universe, God, is pushing me forward to help more people. So I was like, oh my gosh, I got to add 10 more or maybe 20 more. So the goal got bigger as a result of all this.
Well, and during this time of more stillness, more people have time to sit back and write when they didn't have time before. So I'm sure it's able. So maybe you're just supposed to manifest more books.
Absolutely.
More
Manifest.
books.
That's right. Create more best-selling authors so that they can get their messages out to the world. And I think that's what a lot of this is about. Because as you know, COVID, this time of social distancing is making people think about, maybe another purpose in life, or their direction in life. And I find that a lot of people that are reaching out to me, even for coaching, personal coaching, they're like, well, I don't think I can do what I was doing before. So this is what's happening. And these are the insights coming through my prayers and meditation. So I think there's a lot of that going on, and the visibility that these people need and require to, like you said, connect is happening because they're telling their stories and people are saying, oh my God, you're inspiring me. So it's a broader audience they're getting too.
Yeah, yeah. And as I said at the beginning with your bio, that you love doing retreats and you love Europe
Yes.
and Costa Rica and getting away. So with this pandemic and the social distancing and all of travel coming to a dead halt, um, where are you at with Getaway Experiences for yourself for the remainder of the year? Do you see anything coming into fruition? And what does the Getaway Experiences look like for you?
Well, I got a couple getaway experiences. I have one that's going to be virtual with some of our authors actually coming up in June. And then I just booked a venue here in North Carolina, right by the water, to create a live conference so that people that, generally travel, and they can have a mini retreat. They can take an extended weekend, visit the historic town, take a ghost tour, whatever. But more importantly, they can get the inspiration, the tools, the education that these authors can bring to them to change their lives. And I haven't given up yet, Jill, on my retreat that I have planned in Italy at the end of October. I'm keeping my fingers crossed on that. And the fact that people have also who registered saying, we're holding strong. In the event something happens, we will reschedule. But right now, we are praying that we will be in Italy at the end of October.
And how many are registered that actually registered already for Italy?
I only take small groups to this particular one. Okay. I only take 6 people.
And do you have 6 now?
I have 4.
4.
So there is still some opening. And it's geared around people opening a creative channel. Now, some people say, oh, I'm not creative. We are all creative. Life is creative.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the mindset that I want to help people with. So to even take our experience when we're in wherever we're holding our retreats, right, and really tapping into the local essence, you and I talked to that, prior, and to provide experiences that they taste, touch, feel, intuit things on another level. So it's kind of like the storytelling. You can tell facts about your vacation, or you can make it come alive and be juicy and get people going, oh, I want to go on that vacation next, So
yeah, and for me, Gloria, I quit using the word vacation because people have this connotation that a vacation is something that you go on Expedia.com and look for
Right.
the low, cheap pricing. And they don't understand that a getaway experience is an experience, that you're not going on a vacation to sit at the hotel or sit on the beach. You're going and experiencing this unique, unbelievable, amazing connection with like-minded individuals where you
Absolutely.
can grow and learn and develop together and come home. That's why my tag is Renew, Restore, Reconnect, because to me, it's all about restoring, renewing, and reconnecting with community, and ourselves, our
And
higher,
ourselves,
our higher
Mhm.
power. And I've done quite a bit of work with Dick Schwartz with Internal Family Systems on releasing burdens. And by doing internal family systems, it teaches you how to go to parts within ourselves that need unburdening and going to that part with compassion, curiosity, calmness, and creativity. And so
Yep.
when you can slow down your life and be more compassionate, creative, curious, and calm within and connected within, you have a whole different realm of experiences that you can share with the universe and yourself. And so, I've just found it to be, I happen to be a Christian, and I've gotten closer to God by doing this work than anything. And I too do retreats, Gloria, that are small. I like small scale. I don't like large events. When I first created Braveheart Workshops, the name came to me because I absolutely loved Daring Way with Brene Brown. And so I chose Braveheart. And then I just came up with the word workshops. If I could have rebranded now, I would have just put down Braveheart Experiences, because
Yes.
people think I now have understood a workshop is more of a classroom thing, and mine are more retreats and experiences than they are workshops. But I had already branded my company, so it's like, okay, it's Braveheart Workshops. So, so with you doing these events, and you also having, like I said at the beginning, you're a former owner of this holistic center and massage school. So when you're doing your experiences, are you also utilizing any of your wellness practices, your naturopath or your massage at your events? Are you mainly focusing on story and writing?
It depends on where we are, because I do different themed retreats. Okay.
Hmm.
And very often, yes, like when I was doing them in Hawaii, we had a vegetarian chef. We got involved in the kitchen. There would be consultations. I'd take them to Auntie Angeline's Lomi Lomi place. They get the steam, the salt scrub. So it depends, right? It depends on what the theme is.
Hmm.
Then, I take people to Peru, and we're hiking, and going up in the altitudes and experiencing places that aren't common in Peru. So we're getting an exposure to a different lifestyle, even from the locals and from our experience. We go into something sometimes, like you were saying, like a vacation, but it's not a vacation. It is an experience. And so, yes, I tie in the physical, the mental, the emotion, the spiritual, the health connection, all of it in whatever I'm doing. And like even the one in Italy, I can't help but bring wellness into everything I do. Even
Yeah.
if I'm taking a writing workshop, I can help but do that because that's who I am.
Yeah, yeah. I get that, and I'm about the same way. I've got 38 years recovery from drug and alcohol addiction and 20 years from codependency and 5 years from eating disorders. So it's kind of like, I've lived my life for the majority of my adult life in wellness and recovery and therapy and stuff. So it's really difficult not to bring in authentic, courageous, brave connection with others. And I do it in such a gentle way that I just invite a person into story. And before I know it, people are sharing like their whole life story with me because I'm just so used to that. And when I lived in Chicago, I was leading Eating Disorders Anonymous meetings for 4.5 years. And so I still sometimes will get the phone calls because I'm still on a hotline where a parent will call me, Gloria, and they'll ask me, my child has anorexia. What do I do? And I'll sit on the phone and I'm not even a counselor, but I'll help them so that they feel like they're not left abandoned and not knowing which direction to go.
Well, and people connect with people who have had real life experiences.
Hmm.
I think like when you say this whole connection piece that you talk about, it is about that. Some people step back and they don't bring their gifts and experiences forward because of the imposter syndrome. They think I don't have a degree in this and that. But I know, like you do, from our personal experiences, people open up, and I've been in the healing arts for so many years. I had private practice working somatically with people, emotionally releasing all sorts of trauma. And so when people know who we are, they know our journey, they open up
Yeah.
and rather relate to somebody who's actually lived it.
Yeah, because I think life experiences. Actually, my friend Bill, who owns Villa Serena in the Dominican, I was always looking for leaders at his resort, his retreat center, to lead. And he's the one who said, and he's a psychiatrist and doctor and everything. And he's like, "Why are you looking for all these leaders?" He goes, "You should be leading your own retreats, Jill." And I'm still a little apprehensive because I do have leaders set up, but he said, "Start leading your own. You've got so much you can help people with, like so many people."
Absolutely.
So, well, with that, I wanted to ask you kind of a fun thing to shift with. What would you say if you use apps on a cell phone or on your computer? What are two must-have um, ways of communicating that you have to have in your life?
Well, I think the only apps I really use are the social media apps and the texting.
Social media, texting. Okay. It's funny you say that. I moved to Branson just 2 years ago, and I still don't know where north, south, east, or west is. So I have to have my Waze app so I can figure out where I'm going. So I make sure I know how to get home. What is one fun fact about you, Gloria?
Hmm. I know. When I travel, it's really interesting, and it's kind of come as a thing that we kind of just do. When I travel for years, no matter where it was, solo or on retreats, it always seems that there is a younger gentleman that's always taking a photo with me. So it's kind of become the joke, kind of sort of, oh, who's Gloria going to get our photo with again when she travels here and there? And it happens spontaneously all the time. So now, like whenever we do any of the traveling together, somebody's grabbing a photo of me with somebody that just happens to come by to talk to me for whatever reason. But now I've got them doing, like, they're afraid, like, oh God, no, no, no. Now they do it. Now they're like, oh my God, I got a photo with this really gorgeous looking guy.
So the fun fact about Gloria is when she takes her trip, she always brings a really good looking hunk young guy with her. That's your
Not quite, but yes.
nobody
They do
has Nobody has to know the difference. I've got all these good-looking men that travel with me.
All over the place.
All over.
And they meet me.
and a different one for every single experience I go on.
Yeah. And then I never see them again. That's it.
One time.
That's it. One photo op. That's it.
That's amazing. That's amazing. Well, what I'd like to do now is just put on the screen for our audience Gloria's bio. It's got her story of what I read out loud. It also has her Facebook page and her how to reach her, how to reach Gloria. So please take a look at that and reach out to Gloria if anything we shared today might be helpful for you to begin that creative writing experience. Reach out to Gloria. She's a renowned author herself and a publisher, and she'll help you in this journey of creativity and curiosity in your life. Of what was your word? Faith in what? Faith in
gratitude.
Faith and gratitude. So I'm so grateful that you've joined us. And with the Connection Show, we just started this a few weeks ago and have had amazing leaders like Gloria share their stories. We are looking for more leaders that want to come forward and be on the Connection Show. So please reach out to me at braveheartworkshops.com. and find me on my website. It has my contact information, and I'd love to fill you in on a spot to do a live interview. But we've also, Gloria and the audience, taken it a step further. In the last 2 weeks, we have now started the Connection Show Gathering Tribe, which meets every Monday evening on Zoom groups. And so we meet at 8 o'clock p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 7 o'clock Central, 6 p.m. Mountain, and 5 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Now, to get on this Zoom connection, to keep it secure, we have started a private Connection Show Gathering Tribe Facebook page. I will post the link to join that Facebook page. When you join the group and provide your email address, I will email you that Zoom link on Monday so that you can connect with us. And I'm hoping some of our leaders, like Gloria, might be able to jump on those calls and connect with you more on the Connection Show Gathering. So thank you so much, Gloria, for coming on the show today.
Thank you. This was fun. And thank you for mentioning that Connection Zoom gathering, because I would like to jump on and meet some more people. It would be fun.
It's really been fun. You know, we've had a couple guys come on and women, and, you know, we started off with only 6, but we'll have room for up to 100. So we really do hope people, and you don't have to come every week, but it is nice when, and you I would think would agree, Gloria, when you can connect even with the Zooms. And then you find out, hey, man, I have an affinity with Gloria. I want to be one of those 2 spots left to go to Italy. Then you already know each other in it, so it doesn't feel as maybe intimidating or scary to show up somewhere with someone you don't know. And so I'm hoping that as we gather together and connect and dream, we can also share some getaway experiences in 2020. So thanks so much for joining us, and have a wonderful day.
You too. Thank you so much.
Let's connect now. We can dream together to renew, restore, and reconnect with wellness in our life. Go to braveheartworkshops.com. Join me for weekly Zoom connections on Facebook at facebook.com/Braveheart Workshops. Thanks so much for joining the show, and we look forward to seeing you on Monday.